37 years ago, a young man in his early 20s brought together a few of his friends and founded a service club called the Kinsmen. Tonight, we're meeting the founder of the Kinsmen, Mr. Harold A. Rogers.
We had very vivid dreams, great imaginations. We pictured a great organization. We'd organize a Canadian service club. And fortunately, many young men have taken the leadership of the organization, devoted their talents and enthusiasm, and built the organization we have now. Our clubs all across Canada devoted their service and interests to what we call our community's greatest need.
Community is not where you live. It is not the perimeter of your town. Canada is our community. We are one community in this country, period.
If you look throughout the country, you'll see kin signs in large cities and small towns.
And kin is there to fill that community's greatest need.
Everything that builds a stronger community and in many cases fills the needs that social services and communities can't do. The Kinsmen and Connect clubs find ways to raise funds and help people that fall through the cracks.
Each community or each club gets to define what that need is.
We Kinsmen built these parks, and now we're enjoying them along with the rest of the community.
Everywhere you go throughout Canada, I could go and call someone from a kin club and you would be welcomed and they would invite you in their home and you would meet new people, and it's a great experience.
La communauté, dans mes pensées, est famille. Ça veut pas dire que c'est ta famille propre, c'est tes voisins, tes collègues, des amis, des personnes que tu connais pas. Cela représente pour moi la communauté.
If I can make this world just a little bit better by giving something of myself, why wouldn't I?
I was very active, and I tried to do my part for 3 years in the big war. That's not the last war, the big war, 1914, 1918. And I came home to a strange city, Hamilton, Ontario, and after a year or so, I discovered that I'd lost the comradeships, the fellowships I'd known in war effort, and felt the need of it in civilian life. And so I stopped a young chap on the street and suggested we start a service club, and this is the result.
So he tried to join Rotary, but sadly, Rotary have a rule where only one person per trade was allowed in at that time, 1920. So they told Hal, sorry, you can't join.
The first meeting was February 20th, 1920 in the Namking Cafe in Hamilton. One of those young men was Trevor Thompson, who's my grandfather.
Hal and Trevor were the two keys because Hal was selling the idea, Trevor was the workhorse.
We had a special niche in the market for young men to go and join, and because the club had these people of that age, it was young, it was vibrant, it was exciting, and we just naturally attracted people.
It was originally the Hamilton Young Men's Business Club.
Men who wanted to be in business, wanted to learn how to be in business, how to converse in business, and at the same time, how to help the community they lived in.
After the first meeting, they were sitting in Hal's home and his dad was reading a book from Mark Twain in the other room. And he called out to them that the book he was reading mentioned the Kinsman Hotel, and that seemed like a pretty good name. Between my grandfather and Hal and a couple of other people in the room, they said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And the Kinsman Club of Hamilton was born.
And then one or two moved to different locations, Montreal, Vancouver, and they started clubs there. So before you knew it, we had 600 clubs across the country. We expanded very, very quickly over a short period of time.
I'd like to tell you this, of Milk for Bread and how that started. The Kin and Canettes are young people in a working service club. In other words, we try to find the need, and then we ask the public to join us in answering that need. And that's what happened with Milk for Britain. It started because Lord Walton of the British Ministry of Food broadcast on the radios of the United States and Canada. We didn't have television then, of course. And he said exactly this: won't you people in the Americas do without cream in your coffee just one day a week so little children here can have milk? Well, because we had a national organization, not doing too big a job, but still underway, I phoned Ottawa next morning and told them I'd heard the broadcast. We'd send 78,000 quarts of milk next week. And we did. And Brenton, I wish you could read some of the letters I still have. Little children saying, won't you please tell Canada our thanks for all the milk they've sent us.
My name is Ian Brown, and I'm a recipient of the Milk for Britain campaign. The importance of the Milk for Britain campaign cannot be underestimated because children were starving in England. The milk helped to keep many of us alive. I remember my mother lining up in the long lineups with her ration slips. She was rationed, we were rationed with how much we could get of this and that, mainly milk and butter. The Canadian Prime Minister at the time, he started asking service clubs if they could help, and the one that responded to the help was, of course, the Kinsmen. The original request, when Hal Rogers, when they asked him how the Kinsmen could help, and he said, he didn't even blink, he said, we'll send 1 million quarts over. And all the children, like myself, were no longer malnutrition. We were well fed, but I'm just one of millions of children, I'm sure, in England who were the recipients of the Milk for Britain campaign. And of course, we're most grateful for the Kinsmen at that time to help us.
The National Convention's an amazing event.
National Convention to me is like a family reunion.
We get together to celebrate the total dollars donated to our communities across the country, the total hours donated.
To really catch that lightning in a bottle that each and every one of us has. It fills our cup, it refuels us in order to get us to share ideas.
You're sitting down at a supper and meal, you're talking about a variety of things.
Listening to which projects have been really great, what has gone on.
We learn from each other and we get to celebrate with each other, and then you make lifelong friendships.
Everyone has a new idea, a different way of doing something. It keeps our association strong.
But it's also a chance for us to plan for the future, to plan for the upcoming year and for years down the road.
Kin Canada has a focus on education and training.
Kin Canada prides itself on the personal development available in kin. Kin education is a vital part of keeping members involved and engaged in what's going on.
Across the country, in some districts, they have a kin college, which is great for new members as well as older members to learn about kin, how things work in this association, and how to be a member.
Kin U is something we developed over the last couple of years, which gives our members an opportunity to do online learning at their own pace.
You can sign in, get all kinds of information and programs to better yourself, whether it be in business practices, whether it be in conflict resolution, or simply just how to run a project.
It helps them to develop skills that are necessary to take on some of the roles that they might aspire to within the association.
And the skill sets that you learn there are easily transferable to the workplace.
And if we build strong leaders within our association, we will be able to build strong clubs, and strong clubs will do amazing things in their community.
The Hal Rogers Endowment Fund, also known as HREF, runs the Kin Canada Bursary Program. So Kin Canada Bursaries provides bursaries to post-secondary students who not only demonstrate a financial need, but also give back to their communities in their own ways.
It's not uncommon for us to hear members talk about things that they weren't able to do before they became a member to things that they can do. That is a great formula for success and a great way to become a very well-rounded individual.
Partners are an important part of KIN.
The biggest national partnership is the one with cystic fibrosis.
KIN Canada and Cystic Fibrosis Canada was formed in the 1960s, largely through the efforts initially of a gentleman named Bill Skelly, a KIN member who heard about the plight of children with cystic fibrosis, which in those days was particularly bleak.
At that time, the age that the child was expected to live to was 5. The money that KIN Canada has raised has gone to research, and the average age is now going to be 55 years old.
And a lot of that can be attributed to the dollars that have been raised through KIN Canada, through KIN members and clubs across the country that have contributed almost $50 million to cystic fibrosis research and clinical care and other programs. Kinsmen and Kinettes right across the country can be really proud of the difference that they've made in helping us advance.
Another partnership is Canadian Blood Services. Last year, they asked KIN Canada to donate 740 pints of blood.
It's in us to give, and so we ask all members of KIN Canada to either support through blood donation, a Canadian Blood Services site, or hold a blood donor clinic.
And in true fashion, KIN Canada came across and donated over 1,300 pints.
Really looking forward to having them on Telemiracle 44.
It's going to be a great 20 hours, and like we said, we cannot do it without you at home, taking up your phone, making a call.
Telemiracle is a jumbled up expression of love and happiness all in one.
Telemiracle is a 23-hour telethon.
And people phone in and make pledges, and we raise money
to be able to give back to the people of Saskatchewan.
We help pay for medical equipment and travel for medical expenses.
It takes about 500 or so KIN volunteers to make Telemiracle.
I know several recipients of funds from Telemiracle, and it has impacted their life greatly.
I had a liver transplant about a year and a half ago. They treated us just like a family member. It was awesome.
I have a coworker who has a son. He went through a really nasty form of cancer. When he found out I was in the Kinsmen, he said that Telemiracle helped them, and it meant a lot to him. And to be part of something where you have a coworker and just a little boy, and that you did something that mattered to them.
This is a privilege to be here.
And we enjoy doing it every year.
It makes you feel so glad and proud to be KIN.
To give back to people that are in the greater need is the least I can do.
I think it is what makes us who we are, and it showcases how amazing all these people in Saskatchewan are.
2, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then, of course, in each district, they have their own special projects. And here in District 7, we are partners with the Multiple Sclerosis Society for the past 40 years.
Many Kinsmen and Connect clubs and KIN clubs across Canada do a lot of the social projects as well, whether it's food banks, homeless shelters.
Mission is to support women who have young children that are going through different crisis situations.
It's a high tea that we sell tickets for and just have a wonderful day wearing crazy hats.
We have donated to our local hospital. We have donated money for hockey sweaters.
Trappers Festival, we're heavily involved in that. We run the dog sled races. We make a contribution to the festival for youth events.
Lucy's Place is the conversion of an old derelict motel into studio apartments to help take people off the streets.
Our annual Princess Ball, which we started out very small to engage little girls and let them have a day of magic that they might not otherwise have.
Barbecue Canada, when the American border got closed, the Canadian imports for beef got together and said, let's show the world that Canadian beef is safe. We set a Guinness World Book of Records that year for most burgers served on one day for a barbecue.
National Day of Kindness. People come out, have a decent breakfast at a cheap price, have some fun, and families can enjoy each other.
And some people go and they help buy people groceries or bag groceries. Some people go to Tim Hortons and they're paying for people's coffee. You're just going out and you're spreading word about KIN, but just spreading kindness, making everybody feel a little bit better today.
A campus club is a club on campus for the students to get involved and join Kin Canada's organization.
I volunteer because I want to make an impact in our community. Our campus club has done lots to do with students dealing with stress and mental awareness.
Bake sales, we've helped at Hoops for Hope raising money for cystic fibrosis.
Campus club is a great way to explore opportunities within your own community.
They like to say we are the future of kin.
They had the century of the flood in Manitoba. I just remember we'd wear our shirts throughout the city of Winnipeg, and people would come up and go, I live here, and you came all the way over across the country. And I think one of my fondest memories is that they had a few other groups. They used to bring the volunteers food. And so on our second last day, I organized all these groups to come to one area and with the families, and that was amazing. It was pretty awesome to see all those people there.
Well, the Proud to Be Canadian tour was an incredibly wonderful moment in time in Kin. We had been given 2 flags from the Peace Tower in Ottawa, and one began in Victoria, BC. The other began in Victoria, Newfoundland. Those flags traveled throughout the country to all the Kin clubs. So we put special borders around Canadian flags so that the children in communities could sign. In the end, we had well over 2 million signatures of kids. The 2 Peace Tower flags met simultaneously in Thunder Bay at the Terry Fox Memorial. We had many kin that came from all over the country to Canada Day that day in Ottawa to celebrate and be part of the Proud to Be Canadian tour. And if you'd been in the room at one point when all the flags, they had the flags and they fell down from the rafters in the building, and the roar and applause and the joy, I'm still having the shivers now, that came up from that crowd, there was not a person in that room who was not proud to be Canadian and proud to be kin. Absolutely.
Nous avons eu une famille spéciale, d'où ce que j'ai rencontré mon jeune copain, il avait 4 ans. À l'âge d'à peu près 9 ans, son papa a perdu son emploi. Il avait besoin de beaucoup de médicaments et ils se sont approchés à moi et j'ai amené ça au club. Le club a supporté de payer les médicaments. On a été à la pharmacie. Aujourd'hui, ce garçon a 16 ans. Il est très spécial à moi. Ça fait seulement 2 semaines que j'ai eu mon honneur d'être membre de vie. Et mon petit copain, il était là. Il est venu célébrer avec moi. Pour me dire merci et pour me dire qu'il est content que nous avons aidé. Nous sommes là pour aider nos amis qui sont subis de la fibrose cystique.
The future of the association is very bright. We've got all the right stuff, but we constantly have to pursue doing it better. Our membership needs to grow. We need to take a look at how we're reflecting our communities, and does our membership reflect that community? We need to find those projects that make a difference and bring more impact to the people's lives. We need to innovate more. We need to do things that create more opportunities for our members to express how they see their community's needs are. The key ingredients for our success is there in our strategic plan. We talk about innovation, we talk about investing, we talk about impacting. These are the things that are going to be necessary for us to retain our relevance, but also for us to be successful in our next century.
They're your friends, the finest in the land. All set, let's shout to beat the band. What do you say, kinsmen, kinettes, and kin?
Am I proud to be kin? Absolutely.
It truly is like a badge of honor that I get to wear every day.
I attribute so much of my personal success to the skills and the people I've met through kin.
It's brought me so many friends. My family has just grown so much. So now I have 6,000 family members across this country.
You know that all of your proceeds from your events are going back into the community, and just being proud to know that every dollar that you raise, you know where it's going and you have a say of where it goes.
Les projets que nous travaillons dessus, les services que nous donnons à nos communautés, ainsi que la camaraderie que j'ai trouvée dans KIN, me fait rentrer, me regarder, et je travaille encore aussi dur que quand j'ai commencé en 1989. Je suis fière d'être Kinette.
It gives you a great feeling in your heart to know that you've made a difference in the life of at least one person.
Just seeing people smile and having them thank you, it feels good.
I'm incredibly proud to be standing here and privileged to know that each and every member of KIN has such a massive impact. I know KIN changes lives because they have changed mine.
It's a marvelous feeling, of course. It's a tremendous satisfaction to find that young people all through the years have picked up an idea of
This year marks the 100th anniversary of KIN Canada, the nation's largest all-Canadian service club organization. Since its founding by Hal Rogers in 1920, the association has contributed more than $1 billion to Canadian causes, communities, and individuals in need.
You could not visit clubs across this country, see what has been accomplished for the members of the club, but more particularly by those members for their communities, and not have a tremendous thrill that you're a part of it.
To give with your heart is a good part of living. Giving makes living a beautiful thing. Taking the time to make someone smile goes a long, long way to make living worthwhile. We're families together, making life better. We're Canadian, and we're working for